on that northbound 405 traveling through the Long Beach area. South LA CHP now monitoring this, and they are primary. They are handling this as we are repositioning News Chopper 4 here. Let me pull out to show you the picture. We are on the 110 freeway, northbound side of the 110, coming up on some traffic here, but we're coming up into the thick of the afternoon traffic. Northbound side of the 110 approaching Manchester. This is an alleged possible DUI suspect. That's what they believe, but so far it's a failure to yield. We're proceeding north on the 110 coming up into South LA where CHP is pursuing this vehicle.
So Megan, you had mentioned this all started in the Orange County area. Did you say, or was it Long Beach?
We've heard it out of the Orange County area. Our pilot Derek Bell picked it up off the CHP scanner, and he heard that CHP pursuit along Orange County. So we understand Westminster units were trying to pull this vehicle over. They have since departed this pursuit because they handed it off to South LA CHP. Now we're on the 110 freeway, so we're going to come up into the Central Division, so they may hand it off as well. But again, speeds are not too dramatic right now along the 110 freeway. I'm going to pull out so you can see kind of the distance where the CHP officers are. Really, they only have about 3 units right now. They called up all other units. The vehicle's not driving erratically at all, just continuing on the freeway right now. Speeds averaging about 55 miles per hour. So it's one of those slow speed pursuits. And again, we always say we don't like to see pursuits, but when we do, the safest mode is when they're on the freeway and they're traveling at the flow of traffic. Nothing erratic at this time. North 110 freeway here, I believe we're coming up on the Manchester exit, north of Manchester, coming into almost downtown Los Angeles.
And Megan, it looks like he's slowing down, then speeding up, slowing down, speeding up. Is that what you've been seeing through this process here?
Yeah, right now the story changed once this person made that connector to the North 110 freeway because of this afternoon traffic. Anybody who drives it knows about that traffic just north of Florence Avenue, unless if you're in the elevated carpool lanes, which are actually the fast track lanes now, you're going to be stuck in some traffic. So I feel it's okay to kind of pull out a little. You can see traffic is starting to slow here. We see the elevated lanes. They're going to be coming up here shortly. But CHP keeping their safe distance, really not trying to do anything to antagonize this person. The person traveling somewhat at safe speeds. Of course, we're not pulling over, which is not a good idea. You see that CHP right there? That's probably some central units. We're coming up into their jurisdiction right now, so they are going to be taking over this pursuit.
Yeah.
They do that because they are more familiar with this area, so they can handle it in a better manner. So CHP units here in the Central Division just getting ready to take over this pursuit. Originated, we believe, out of Orange County. Westminster CHP trying to pull this vehicle over, and so far it is a failure to yield. Now we're traveling on this North 110 coming up into downtown LA here.
Megan, are you able to zoom out for us just a little bit how many CHP officers are following at this point? But like as we can see now, they are keeping their distance, but quite a few.
Well, yeah, you see a little more because they actually have the central units coming up, and they're going to send the South LA units home back to their jurisdiction. In fact, they actually made one of the motor units back away, basically pull off of the pursuit because they had sufficient units according to the watch commander. Usually you have about 3 units, sometimes maybe more, depending on the situation. We're going to reposition News Chopper 4 to get a better idea here. But basically, you have the primary unit, the secondary unit, and usually there is a supervisor on scene as well.
All right, Megan, we'll check back with you in just a few moments. Right now on the phone, we have CHP Officer Figueroa. Thanks so much for joining us right now. Can you give us a status update? What do you know about this incident, this pursuit right now?
Hi, good afternoon. Yes, this pursuit originated in the Westminster area by our CHP units trying to attempt to stop this vehicle because it was a 911 call from a citizen that was concerned about this. You know, the car was swerving back and forth, and so they decided to call 911, and we tried to stop the vehicle, and at that point it failed to yield.
So certainly that person who called in saw some erratic driving, but so far as we've been tracking this vehicle, not swerving around the lanes, I guess, as far as we're seeing. Is that what you're hearing?
That's true. That's what we're seeing too. The thing is that now that person has failed to yield to our emergency lights, and so that's in itself something that is criminal.
Of course.
You know, we're concerned for their safety. If maybe they're having some sort of medical condition. If they were weaving back and forth, it could be that they're under the influence. We don't know. We'd like to stop them.
Do we know if it's a male or female driver?
We do know that it's a solo occupant female that's in the vehicle right now.
And we've talked about a little bit about the speeds. This driver going somewhere between 40 and 60 miles per hour at times, so not excessive speeds, but it looks like the driver really slows down at certain points. Would there ever be a decision made to kind of move in on that driver if they almost come to a complete stop on the freeway? And when is that decision made to kind of move in and become a little bit more aggressive?
Well, these situations are ongoing, and that decision is made by the patrol units down at that are in the pursuit, as well as with the sergeant. It depends on the situation. The last thing we want to do is put somebody else's life or their property in danger in order to stop this vehicle. Especially right now, we have time on our side. It's not driving too fast, so we could take our time with most of our resources to get this person to stop.
It gets a little more challenging here as traffic is backing up, but it looks like. Well, he's now, I'm sorry, did you say this was a man or woman? I wasn't able to hear your answer.
A woman.
A woman. It's a female driver who's behind the wheel here. And Megan Reyes, if you're still able to hear us, could you pull out a bit so we can see the proximity here? Thank you. As it looks like there's an open road ahead.
Officer Figueroa, do you know if the officers, you can tell it's a woman. Has that woman, can they tell, is that woman on the phone? Because she's been slowing down almost to a standstill, looks like at times. Can we see anything that's going on inside the vehicle?
No, we can't tell what's going on in there, and so we just don't know what's causing her to slow down or accelerate. It's something that we're working to figure that out.
So at this point, the plan is to just stay close behind this driver, and as long as she's not driving erratically, to continue to follow her, and hopefully she will pull over?
That's correct. We have, like I said, we have as many resources that we could use for situations like this, and we're going to continue to stay behind this vehicle, and if an opportunity presents itself for us to stop it in whichever way they decide to do, then I'm sure they'll make that decision once they get there. But you can tell that the speeds aren't great. Like I said, we have as much time as we can possible to bring this to an end in a safe way.
Do you employ any traffic breaks at all to make sure that there's some distance between this driver and other vehicles? It almost looks like there's quite a stretch now.
A lot of times we do employ a traffic brake, and that's for the safety of the public. If we decide if it crashes or we do decide to stop it forcibly, then we have enough space cushion between the vehicles that are behind us, that are the citizens that are driving, and ourselves, without placing them in a dangerous situation.
All right, Officer Figueroa with CHP, thanks so much for joining us. We want to check back in now with News Chapter 4 and Megan Reyes. And Megan, can you tell us what's going on now? Any landmarks? Where is this pursuit right now?
We're just passing the USC area off to the left side of the screen here. This is on the North 110 freeway. I'm going to kind of push in a little bit now. North 110 approaching the Santa Monica freeway. North 110, we're coming up into the heart of downtown Los Angeles. Vehicle going really slow. I'm listening to officers transmit, and they're saying the vehicle's traveling about 50 miles per hour. We have confirmed through CHP it is a solo female driver. Again, driving erratically, warranting somebody to call 911 out of Orange County. Concerned for the way this person was driving. You can see that CHP vehicle off to the right shoulder over there. They're in the process of switching off central units right now. Central units from this California Highway Patrol are taking over this pursuit right now. Failure to yield out of Orange County, and now we're coming into downtown. What's the traffic look like ahead? Well, let me pull out a little. You're going to see things are bunching up. This is nothing unusual. Traffic gets a lot slower as you get closer to that Hollywood freeway. So if anything, we're not seeing this person drive erratically, which is good. CHP is just kind of keeping their distance. They also have a CHP helicopter monitoring this situation from above, but at least as of right now, CHP units are just patient, following this driver, waiting for her to pull over. This pursuit on the North 110 coming into downtown Los Angeles right now.
Megan, it looks like she has slowed down once again quite a bit, and obviously that's because of the traffic that's, as you mentioned, bunched up ahead of her here.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. You know, sometimes we see these drivers going really erratically, swerving in and out of traffic right now. And sometimes, you know, we don't know what the situation is. Is there a medical situation? That's what the CHP officer was referring to earlier. Maybe the person is just not aware of what's going on in their surroundings. There have been cases like that in the past where they just don't understand what's happening. So again, they're taking all these elements into consideration as to what's going to happen right now. But again, the way she's driving, she's not really actively trying to flee the officer. officers. Yes, she's not pulling over, but again, they're not sure if this is a medical aid situation or just basically somebody saying, I'm not going to pull over and I'm just going to continue. We're on the 110 freeway northbound coming up on the 9th Street exit, and really, she's really slowing down a lot more right now, just kind of going with the flow of traffic, but things are going to get a little tougher as we come up onto the 4-level interchange.
All right, looks like she's just kind of creeping along there right now. How's it looking ahead as we get to the heart of downtown Los Angeles? Obviously, we're in the noon hour. A lot of people are out on their lunch breaks. Is it looking fairly packed there in terms of traffic?
Well, I'm looking outside the front windshield of News Chopper 4. I don't want to lose the shot here too much, but there is a lot of traffic here. It bunches up in those right lanes getting to that Hollywood freeway connector. Now, if she stays to the left lane, traffic won't be so bad, but then you'll have that other traffic that bunches up approaching the Golden State Freeway. If this person decides to transition to either direction of the Hollywood freeway, you're going to have significant delays, especially on the northbound side getting through that transition. Now, you would think that can be a precise moment where officers could try to execute some type of maneuver to stop her, maybe block her in. But again, they don't know the situation right now. I don't know what officers are planning on doing, but right now they're just following her. They've got the lights and sirens on. Everybody is yielding, doing what they're supposed to do. As we cross over, I believe that might be Wilshire Boulevard on the 110 freeway northbound. You can see LAPD unit off to the right. They're not there to take over, but maybe they can assist if necessary. But right now, CHP, they're great at what they do. They're handling this pursuit on the 110 freeway, and they want to bring this pursuit to an end as quickly as possible.
We can see, Megan, some other CHP vehicles who appear now to be coming onto the freeway. As you mentioned, they do a great job of sort of handing this chase off. Is she?
Yeah.
Is she? No, she's still zooming ahead there. For a moment, I thought that might have been her vehicle kind of pulling over. It's a little difficult to tell sometimes with so many of these dark-colored sedans on the road.
It is, and we are monitoring, we are keeping an eye. It's that one vehicle right there north on the 110 freeway. And again, sometimes you will see CHP officers, vehicles off to the right shoulder. They try to create a natural traffic break. They will not let vehicles onto the freeway. They want to try to minimize the amount of traffic on the freeway. Officers behind, what we don't see, are actually slowing traffic down. They're weaving back and forth so vehicles will not pass them. So they're kind of creating somewhat of a natural traffic break behind them. Northbound on this side of the 110 freeway, what officers can do at times is they will call for assistance to have officers block any transitions or any on-ramps, so that way we minimize the amount of traffic. Now, we're just passing the intersection for the Hollywood freeway, so she has committed to the North 110 freeway. Her next option will be either Stadium Way if she decides to exit off the freeway. Other than that, we'll come up on the Golden State Freeway, and only time will tell what she decides to do.
All right, and what are the speeds looking like right now, Megan? I know that they've been kind of erratic. Sometimes it looks like she almost comes to a standstill, and the highest speeds that we've heard about thus far, it's about 60 miles per hour. What are we looking at now?
Right now, believe it or not, we're actually going with the flow of traffic. Sometimes I'm actually seeing some of the vehicles on the right side before they know a pursuit is coming up, traveling faster than she is. Now she's going a little faster, but she's only doing about 60 miles per hour. I'm listening to CHP calling out their location on the northbound side of the 110 freeway, approaching Stadium Way. And really, the speeds are not of concern right now. We'd like to see them drive at slower speeds. We don't like to see any pursuits here, but we always see them in Southern California. Sometimes we see those wicked ones where they're driving erratically. These are one of the ones that are much safer. And remember, public safety is number one concern. These officers want to make sure that this person gets pulled over safely, but in doing so, they want to make sure that no people get injured or anything happens to any of the civilians who are also on the freeway with her right now.
Megan, both you and Officer Figueroa talked about, the use of some traffic breaks to help with their job. You mentioned you saw some happening at sort of the back end of this pursuit. Do you think that's something they might employ up ahead as well? Because it does seem now like there's less traffic for her ahead.
Well, that's the great thing about it. See, they were able to probably block some of the on-ramps there to that 110 freeway, and that's why they do that. So you see just some of the traffic is left over. And really, we're also coming up into an area where there's not going to be a lot of traffic. We just crossed the number 1 tunnel on the North 110. We got 2 more tunnels to go, so now she's going to enter the second tunnel. So the next option here is going to be coming up on the Golden State Freeway, passing the number 2 tunnel here and going into the number 3. There she is right over there. And now we're going to see her come up here. Now, she goes into the left lane, she will commit to the Golden State Freeway. Actually, there's 4 tunnels, so there's the last tunnel right over there, the longest one, and then this will be the option where she can decide if she's going to continue on the North 110 or connect to the 5. And time will tell, basically. If she connects to the Golden State Freeway, they will, well, actually, we passed the Golden State Freeway, so there we go, connecting onto the northbound side of the 110. So right now, LAPD units are most likely notified in the northeast area. CHP letting them know we have a pursuit coming up into your neighborhood. South Pasadena is probably aware if she decides to get off the freeway in South Pasadena. And the 110 ends in Pasadena, so I wouldn't be surprised if those officers are aware of this pursuit, and they will definitely lend their assistance if this person exits the freeway. That way city officers can help the CHP once it gets into another jurisdiction.
And that's what I was going to ask you next. Yeah, as you go up the 110 there, Megan, as you had noted, it kind of it's a windy type of highway there. You have to kind of keep your speeds down, which she's been doing, but sooner or later, in about 5 to 10 minutes or so, that is where the 110 terminates in Pasadena, and then she's going to be stuck on surface streets, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's going to end right on Glen Arm, where you exit, where the freeway ends into Pasadena. So only time will tell. Right now, they would actually be really good if units ahead of time. And again, we don't know what they're doing. They could already be planning things. They could plan on doing some type of spike strips up ahead, but that would be a perfect opportunity to execute some type of maneuver like that. If they can block some of these on-ramps, knowing that the freeway ends, they can easily set up a spike strip.
Yeah, indeed. And Megan, we just want to let our viewers know that you're watching our continuing coverage of this CHP pursuit in Los Angeles right now. We are following this for you here on the air as well as online and on our NBC LA app.
It started in Westminster right around 12:30, so this is about a half hour right now, and it has made its way up the highway here, up 110 through downtown Los Angeles. And as NBC4's Megan Reyes has reported, this female driver who initially was driving erratically. Someone called 911 concerned about how this person was driving. Officers tried to pull her over, and she failed to stop. Well, now she's on the northbound 110, where very soon, very shortly, the 110 will terminate, and this driver will find herself on surface streets. Let's check back in now with Megan Reyes. Megan.
She's going about 40 miles per hour according to the ground units right there on the northbound side of the 110. Next major intersection here, I believe she'd be coming up on Avenue 43 or via Marisol in that area. We are in the Highland Park area, so LAPD has their ears on this one. If it exits here in the Highland Park area, LAPD can actually assist units on the ground right now. CHP primary, because it is on the freeway, north on the 110 freeway. We just went under one of those overcrosses right there, and we are making our way into South Pasadena. So really, that's going to be the next major intersection coming up in this area. Let me pull out. I will show you what traffic looks like up ahead, north on the 110 freeway. Really, there is not much traffic. This is the Arroyo Seco portion of the 110. Not a lot of traffic on this portion of the freeway any time of the day, so that can be an advantage for CHP. Hopefully, they can try to execute some maneuver to bring this pursuit to a safe end.
You know, as Adrian mentioned, Megan, this all started with a driver calling in to say that this female driver was, driving so erratically. For the most part, though, we have seen some pretty calm freeway driving, which, if there's anything reassuring about this, is that she does not appear to be endangering the lives of others right now, at least.
Yes, and that's what makes these pursuits so dangerous, is the recklessness of these people who have no regards for the people on the streets with them. We're just passing Marmion Way north on the 110 freeway, and really this is going to be one of the last exits to get off in the Highland Park area. So South Pasadena, it's coming to you, and then Pasadena is where this freeway ends, and most likely she just may take it to the end north on the 110 freeway. CHP officers telling them, telling dispatch about 50 miles per hour. But again, what caused concern at first and what alerted people was her erratic driving. Once CHP got up behind her and tried to pull her over, she failed to yield to officers. So if anything, the good news, like we've been saying, we're not seeing that crazy erratic driving. We're just seeing slow speeds north on the 110 coming up on a freeway that's relatively quiet. Coming up into South Pasadena, we should be approaching Orange Grove shortly here north on the 110.
And just a couple miles left till this freeway ends, right, Megan?
Absolutely. absolutely. You got Orange Grove, and then you got Fair Oaks, and then the freeway ends. We may have some construction. I see some cones on the southbound side. Not too sure if it's on the northbound side, but at least as of right now, we're seeing some pretty good speeds here. Nothing too significant north on the 110 freeway, and we are just, that's Bridewell. That's the Bridewell exit. Just passing that exit right now. So she is going to most likely take it to where this freeway ends, and hopefully units are already set up to try to execute some type of maneuver to bring this to a safe end.
And Megan, this is somewhat uncommon in the sense that the freeway is going to end. The 110 will end very shortly. What is the possibility, or have you ever seen officers set up spike strips or blockades or barricades knowing that it's going to transition from a freeway to surface streets? Are there more options available because the speeds will have to drop speed?
Well, what they have in their advantage right now is the prediction that this freeway is ending. If they can get units up in that area of Pasadena PD, or somebody can get up in that area that probably already made the notification, there might be officers right there ready to deploy spike strips. But it's always dangerous doing that. Officers put themselves in harm's when they do that. They put themselves in harm's way. But again, they want to bring this to a stop as quickly as possible. It looks like she may be picking up a little more speed. Now, what's going to happen is when we get into the Pasadena area, CHP officers, that's not their jurisdiction. Now, they can still be primary, but they can ask Pasadena for their assistance. We're just crossing over Fair Oaks here in South Pasadena, coming up on the Fair Oaks exit. So now she has committed to the end of the freeway. So Pasadena PD, great division down there. They can assist with the CHP and help them, and they can coordinate. And if it continues in the city of Pasadena, CHP might have them take over just because it's in their jurisdiction and they know the streets much better than the CHP. But if it goes back onto the freeway, CHP will say, this is ours again. We'll pick it back up on the freeway.
And it's important to note, if officers do decide to deploy any of these spike strips, the results are not instantaneous. So it takes some time for the vehicle to eventually stop anyway.
And that's how they are designed. You want the air to come out at a slow rate in order to minimize the possibility of a tire exploding or anything of that nature, which would cause any problems. So here we go. Freeway is ending. We don't see anybody there right now. That is Glen Arm. We have a red light here. This could be a perfect point where they can actually go up to the vehicle. But again, I don't know what's on the mind of CHP. I don't know how they want to bring this to an end. Red light. It looks like a red light just turned green. Nobody's moving. They hear all the sirens going on. They kind of don't know what to do.
The other drivers are not sure what to do.
Exactly. This is just coming up on a rear view mirror, like this vehicle right here. Where do I go? What do I do? I mean, it can be alarming sometimes when you see that up behind you, but she decided she's going to continue. And now that turns into a Royal Parkway. So now we're on a Royal Parkway in the city of Pasadena. I assure you, Pasadena PD is aware that this pursuit is in their neighborhood. And now what we'll probably see are some units off to the side blocking cross streets. The next major cross street, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be California, and so we may see some units up ahead blocking traffic to minimize the amount of traffic. Now, this can also be a key point where officers can execute a pit maneuver. Now, we normally don't see them on the freeway. It does happen in rare occasions, but again, when it's on surface streets and she's making a turn here and there, that can be a perfect opportunity to basically deploy or actually execute a pit maneuver. Now, she's stopping at a red light here. So let's see, officers have their doors open. They're not sure whether they're going to get out and approach the vehicle. Is this ending, or is it just because she's stopping at a red light? The light is red. We're on the Arroyo Parkway coming up on, that is Fillmore Street in Pasadena. Now see how this officer is the K9 unit. He has his dog ready to deploy if she comes out, but I think she just stopped for a red. Going back again, everybody's shutting their doors and they're following her in the city of Pasadena, north of Royal Parkway, coming up on California Boulevard.
Megan, interesting to note that traffic stop there, because she did stop for the red light. Didn't appear there was any oncoming traffic that she was necessarily yielding to. She was just sort of obeying that traffic light, but obviously ignoring all the CHP and police cars behind her.
Yeah, she's basically following the traffic laws. Here we go. This is California. She's got a green, or she's got a red light here, and she is basically just kind of waiting it out. And it's a tricky situation. I mean, you at home may be saying, why don't they just run up and go and grab her? I mean, you have to treat every situation. You don't know what the suspect is wanted for. She's not pulling over. Why is she not pulling over? Again, a lot of times officers already know who this person is. They've ran the license plate. They've already talked to, trying to reach out to family members or anybody who is linked to this registered vehicle. They're trying to get an insight of the frame of mind of this person. So a lot of times they don't want to just run out and yank that door open and try to provoke a situation. It is in their best interest to bring a pursuit to end safely. So right now she's really not causing any problems. Only thing is she's just not pulling over, but she's obeying all the traffic laws, which is the advantage for police following her right now.
When we talk about landmarks in terms of the pursuit, to give folks an idea of where this person is, Arroyo Parkway, again, that eventually will run into Colorado, which obviously is a main thoroughfare through the heart of Pasadena, a lot of shops and restaurants and what have you. How close are we getting to Colorado now?
Colorado's pretty much almost there. This is Del Mar. So she's stopping for the red light. I did see a motor unit from Pasadena on the southbound side, so I'm not sure if he's going to turn around to assist. So she's at Del Mar right now. While she's at that red light, I'm just going to show you Colorado Boulevard is close up ahead, but Arroyo ends. It ends, I believe that's on Union Street up in that area right by Pasadena PD. So there's really no doubt in my mind that Pasadena PD is already having their officers to deploy to basically assist. We haven't seen any officers yet. Cars are making a left turn right here. This guy's not sure if he should turn or not. I mean, again, these people are just driving every day, and all of a sudden here comes the pursuit. They don't know what to do. Do they pull over? Do they stay where they are? CHP always urges motorists, if you cannot pull over safely to the right shoulder, just stay in your lane. They are highly trained. They can maneuver around the vehicles, but you see how they get out right now. It's almost like a game on what she's going to do. The light is green, but she has not moved right now.
Oh, here
the light
she
turns
goes.
green.
Yep.
Here she goes. So see, all these guys, now they got to run back to their car, get back in their car, and go back and follow her. So again, we're not seeing erratic speeds, so that's one of the safer things about this particular pursuit. There's some people on the roof watching the pursuit there above New Balance, seeing this coming into their city. So we're going to come up here shortly to Colorado Boulevard. That is the heart of Pasadena. Here we go. Probably going to do a pit maneuver right here. They're like, this is enough. We're going to bring this to an end. And this is a perfect time. You know, she may be going too slow. It might be a little difficult, but as she starts increasing her speeds, that CHP officer is going to do everything he or she can to bring this to a safe end.
Yeah, Megan, it seems like a pit maneuver would be the time to do it now where the street's a little bit wider, but here we are with more traffic again.
Right, so here we go. Same story again. This is Green Street. Green Street is a one-way, so the only way she can go is right, but by the way she has been driving, she's most likely just going to continue straight. So same story again. You know, officers are kind of not going to, you know, they understand she's probably going to go when the light turns green. You can see them standing there actively getting ready if they need to get out of the vehicle. But she's proceeding through Green Street, north on the 110. CHP going to get up really close. I think he's going to bring this one to an end. Here it goes. Get ready for that pit maneuver on the right side, turning that vehicle around. This is northbound Arroyo, just north of Green Street, just south of Colorado Boulevard. We're going to reposition News Chopper 4, felony stop right now. They have their guns drawn, basically summoning her to come out of the vehicle, and we'll see if she decides to comply. Hopefully she will, so everybody can, you know, pretty much call this situation code 4 and it being over with.
That was a classic pit maneuver. I mean, the way that was executed was just perfect, the way it should be. And now she is facing this car. Can we see if her hands, are they both still on the wheel?
Well, I do see her hands. The reason why I'm pushing in a little is because I can see her hands. You know, this is a delicate situation. You see, it looks like she's opening the door. They are summoning the directions, telling her to open up the door. Usually they want her to do it from the outside, and they want her to toss the keys out. That's very important right now. Her windows are up, so that's probably why she didn't open the door from the outside. They are yelling at her to drop your keys, but she's coming out hands up, so that's good. You know, she's obeying officers. And again, we don't know the situation. Could this be a medical aid situation? Could somebody be confused, having a medical problem right now? She doesn't appear to be violent. She's showing her hands, saying, okay, here, my hands, what's going on? But, you know, the fact that she was just obeying all the traffic laws, they're treating this different. They're not making her get on the ground, just walk slowly to us. They're making this, well, that's another thing. They want her to turn around and make sure she doesn't have any weapons. But really, for the most part, you know, they are very cautious about this, but I don't think they're elevated with the risk right now with this lady, because the way they're apprehending her very nicely, they're putting the handcuffs on her, and most importantly, they're going to make sure medically she is okay. But right now, I can tell you this pursuit came to a safe end in the city of Pasadena. This is on northbound Arroyo, just before Colorado Boulevard. Now, even though they said there was only one person in that car, it will be officially over once they clear that vehicle and make sure there's no other people in there, and that's what these two officers are doing right now.
Hey, Megan, we appreciate your great coverage for us in News Chopper 4. Terrific to see these come to an end with no one injured, but you can also see just how many resources were put toward this, which is always disturbing to see, the amount of police, CHP, it takes to bring something like this to an end.
Yeah, counting at least 6 CHP vehicles there as those officers check the suspect's vehicle right now. Of course, this started just about 45 minutes ago in Westminster when someone called and reported a erratic driver. Again, this pursuit went at slow speeds, 40 to 60 miles per hour, before finally ending here in Pasadena on Arroyo, just north of Greene.